Magnificat anima mea Dominum,
et exsultat spiritus meus in Deo salutari meo.
Welcome to the new episode of the theme St.Teresa of Avila, Mother of Interior Souls. I continue the topic of the spirit of service and prayer life. Being raised up to the highest regions of mystical contemplation, St. Teresa founded 17 convents of her OCD nuns and helped the friars to put up 14 monasteries. She writes in connection with these foundations, I say nothing in describing these foundations of the sore trials which we endured on the roads. What with the cold, the sun and the snow. There were times when it did not stop snowing the whole day long. Others when we lost our way, and other when we had to contend with numerous indisposition and fevers. The means of travel used by St. Teresa and her companions for the foundation of the convents included all those used in Spain at the time: donkey, mule, horse, covered wagon, coach and carriage. The one preferred and usually used by her was the covered wagon. It kept the nuns hidden from the curiosity of the people. When necessary, she made no fuss and used the coach, a more fashionable and luxurious form of travel favored by the wealthy. It could be drawn by either horses or mules. This was a means offered to Teresa when the business matter or foundation bore some relation to the aristocracy. She learned to travel by donkey. She rode the mule. Her skill in handling a mule was remarkable. Outside, the small group included the wagon drivers and perhaps a nobleman or a merchant or some other friend ready to lend a helping hand when needed. Finally, there was the chaplain who would celebrate Mass in whatever little church they might happen upon the long way. Inside the coach, the sisters had their times for laughing and joking. They were joyful solitaries and writing and singing verses so as to help pass the long days. During the travel, the order of proceedings was this. First of all, each day they would hear Mass and communicate. And however hurried they were, this was never omitted. There was also holy water and a little bell which at the appointed hours rang for silence. And everyone knew that as soon as it rang, they must all be quiet. There was a clock to give the nuns the hours for prayer. And when the bell rang at the end of a period of prayer or silence, it was wonderful to see how delighted the men were at being able to speak again. And the saint was always careful to give them something to eat as a reward for being so good in keeping silence. The fame of the saints' virtues and good works spread far and wide, and people no longer stood aloof, but flocked to see her till the unwelcome publicity caused her more embarrassment than the earlier coldness and detraction. People of all ages and all social classes spoke of her with admiration. It is difficult to imagine how pleasant a surprise it must have been to those simple, devout people of the 16th century when, instead of the unapproachable figure of mystery and marvel which they had supposed Teresa to be, they found an ordinary, plain-spoken, smiling woman, for all the world like one of themselves. When she met a group of villagers, her talk with them would be of market prices and the progress of the crops. Her popularity, once she became known, would have no limits. On one occasion, the entire village of Bayas came out to meet her, and some villagers on horseback rode on ahead of the rest and led her back in procession. A journey which she made from Malagon to Villanueva de la Higuera was a succession of boisterous welcomes as she went from one village to another, the streets of which were so crowded that there was no room to turn. St. Teresa had wanted the blessing of the foundation of her convent at Seville to be made quietly and informally, but her two spiritual directors favored a public ceremony so that her order might become known in this important and wealthy city. After the procession, St. Teresa knelt to the Archbishop and asked for his blessing, which he gave her. But to her surprise and confusion, he then knelt to her in his turn and asked for hers. Thank you very much.